Hi, ladies, and welcome to today's podcast, Inspiring Stories by Women in Business. Today, I have the pleasure of inviting Danielle McCurdy. Hi, Danielle.
Hi there. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm great. Good to have you on the podcast.
Yes, I'm so pleased. Thank you. Excited.
I'm really excited about welcoming you to today's podcast because you have such a unique story. And I know many ladies who are currently in a corporate world and thinking about entrepreneurship will certainly relate to your journey. So I want to have a quick introduction of Danielle. So Danielle started Naturally Biased by Danielle to show women what is possible. She helps women rediscover and redefine their story for life-changing results. She embarked on a journey that resulted in moving her family across the world twice now, leaving her comfortable corporate career behind and going for long-term dreams of becoming an entrepreneur. She's certified in health and life coaching and yoga and deeply studied different forms of meditation and countless other types of personal development. Danielle's passionate about helping women from all around the world to design a new life by weaving in the best form from the past and dreams for the future. So welcome to the podcast, Danielle.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I want to hear from you. Tell me a little bit more about your background and how it all happened.
Yeah, great. Well, I'm from California. I lived there most of my life except for some time in university. I lived in Madrid, Spain. I've lived in Australia and most recently the UAE, and now I'm in London. I went to school for very corporate job. I was told early on, if you want to make money, you have to work with money. And I had initially wanted to go save the world, work in the Peace Corps, but I had a lot of student debt as it goes, especially in the US. I don't know here, but I had so much. So halfway through my degree, I had to kind of switch gears from saving the world to making money. So I later got an MBA, and I worked in the accounting world for it's maybe 15 years, and I had a great career. And that's where kind of the first part of the story starts, and then it changed a little bit. Do you want me to go into that?
I want to ask you. I mean, you had the perfect life in California, had a great job in a corporate. What actually triggered you to ask this question? Is this it? And take your whole world, your whole life, and go traveling and do things.
Yeah. So as you said, I worked for years and years and just really built this life that I imagined as a child, as having, 2 kids, great husband. My husband was from Spain. We'd met abroad in university. It was very storybook. He came back to the States. I had a job, honestly, a really wonderful job for about my last 7 years in the States, a wonderful female boss that really empowered me. Salary was great, beautiful house, everything you say, 2 healthy little girls. And one day I just spoke up, and I think it was really this moment of, you just look around, kind of a existential moment, and you're like, is this it? Like, I have everything, I've arrived, so to speak, but I still feel like something's missing. And so it was, it totally baffled my husband. I think scared him a little bit. I've always loved traveling. And when you live in the US, you don't normally get a lot of vacation time. Usually it's 2, if you're lucky, 3 weeks a year. And when you split that up amongst like sick children or the holidays here, an extra long weekend, it gets eaten up quite quickly. So we were traveling every once in a while, but not as much as I had when I was younger, more free. So I started looking for opportunities to basically run away from everything. And a great opportunity came up for me to work in the UAE. And so my husband said yes. So that's where basically like the chapter 2 started on changing everything, moving abroad. And yeah, it was very exciting.
Amazing. I can't believe that. That is so brave of you to do that. I want to ask you, for the ladies that working in a corporate as well, what were the challenges that you face in a corporate world?
Yes. Well, in the beginning, when I was in the corporate world, I was married, young and married, but we didn't have children, and we were both working our business, are working in the business world, and so it was just checking in with the husband if I was going to stay late. And there were so many long nights and stuff, but it was easy because I always worked with really fun groups of people, and we became great friends. And but once the children came along, you have something else pulling at your heartstrings. And I still did it. I still went to work. I still worked the long hours, but luckily I was able to take a lot of the work home and work around child one and then child two. But as they got older and they start realizing when you're not home, and you start to see that you're missing those key steps, the first steps, the first sitting up, the first words, any of those big moments, even missing so many of the field trips, or these like having tea with mom at work, at school, these kind of things that really started to get I feel like I was missing something. And when I was living in the UAE, I was working even more. So if I was working a lot with a big title in the States, in the UAE, I was working more. So 70 hours a week, if that's 7 days a week. We had a wonderful nanny who was basically raising my girls. And that was when I really felt the pinch, and became a critical situation for me. I was wondering why I had these beautiful children if I wasn't going to get to enjoy all of them, the magic moments with them.
Yeah, definitely. So what were the practical steps that you took in transitioning from the corporate world into becoming your own business owner?
Yeah. So I think the first thing was having a catalyst that pushed me over the edge, basically. And so that the first one was in the States. The second one was just as I mentioned, really missing my kids, and also just starting to feel my health kind of suffer more and more. And I've always been very passionate about health and wellness. So I first got back in touch with what really lights me up, what is my passion. I always loved health and wellness, yoga, fitness, and helping people. I've always wanted to serve others. And so I got in touch with that. And then planning, just really first find what lights you up and then plan. And I don't mean plan for 5 years, but have a plan, because I've seen a lot of people just jump out of something that is very established, and it is very scary. You have your pension or your 401k if you're in the States, and you have this salary getting dumped in every month. But if you have a plan and you really have like the steps that they're measurable and they have dates on them, and what they are, and you just start executing that plan, being consistent, then you can move towards your goal of leaving. And some people leave early on, and it's still, even though they have a plan, more of a leap of faith, and others do it when they've already built up from a side hustle a salary, or enough earnings that can support them. Either way, whatever works for you, but definitely just make sure that you have a plan that you're sure will be sustainable. Because I think what you don't want to do is jump out, try it doesn't work, and then you feel that you've not succeeded.
So when is the right time to take a leap then?
I think that the right time is when I think it's when you do have a plan, and when you have identified what it is that you want to spend your time on. Because I think if it's something that really doesn't fire you up, light you up, that you're not passionate about, then they say if you would do it for free, what is that saying? You'll never work a day in your life. And so if it's something like, for me, if I could go to yoga every day of the week. I don't teach yoga, but I could talk about geek out on personal development and life coaching, or cook different styles of broccoli, like all of these things about health and wellness, mental, physical. So I do that in my free time, and so I also want to do it helping others. So we just make sure that you have the right thing that will keep you won't get bored.
Of course. So I'm so glad to see that you're actually living your passion and doing things that truly light you up. And,
Mm.
like you say, it's not working, it's just living your passion right now. I
Yeah.
want to ask you, what are the important key ingredients to success in business?
Mm, that's great. That's a really good question. Well, I think that one of them that I found for me, especially as a busy mom of two, I was one that worked still in the business world while transitioning and doing a side hustle, is consistency. And I think that goes across the board, being very consistent with your own self care. I know I still fall off of that a lot because I've just always put everything else first, including the business or my children. Um, but consistency. So make sure you're consistent in your business, you're consistent in taking care of everything else. The other thing is passion. Obviously, I've talked a lot about that. Two more things. One is planning. I think if we're busy women in today's world, you need to have a really, really good diary, whether it's Google Calendars or your iCal or paper diary calendar that you are planning what you want to do for the week or the day ahead. I do it kind of weekly, and then daily I try to put in then action steps to get everything done. And the last one is good coaching or mentoring. So having somebody behind you that's supporting you. I think that having somebody that's not involved in your financial success but will be there to support you and give you feedback is invaluable. Oh, wait, one more. And a group of women, like women in business, to meet up with and network. And
Oh, I love that. I was just going to ask you, what has been your experience being part of the community as a member and, of course, attending some of our past events? What has been your experience so far?
yeah, well, as you know, I'm one of your number one fans. So I found you somehow, I think through Instagram, maybe just about a year ago, and I attended your event here in London in, I think it was November. And it blew my mind. And it's literally just what I needed at that moment. I was just, sometimes being an entrepreneur can feel very lonely. And so it's, you're working late nights, early mornings, lunch hours, and you're not getting out enough to meet other people that are actually being brave enough to do these passion projects. Or so that event was amazing. I've been to a couple of the smaller meetups with you, and I was also at the big event in the spring. I can't remember, June or May. So I've been a member also. So yeah, I love every event. You always over deliver 100%. So
Oh, thank you so much. And I know last time you brought your daughter with you as well.
yes, that was, thank you so much. That was a bit of a, unexpected surprise, but she loved it. She loved it.
Would you encourage your children to pursue entrepreneurship like yourself?
Yes, very much so. And I hope that, first and foremost, they do, again, what lights them up. I don't regret my corporate career, but I also sometimes just wonder, you know, had I thought, how can I do more than just go into, I don't know, just, I didn't really have the foresight back then to think in a bigger range of things, what I could do to still do things that I would love. But yeah, I hope that they just do what makes them happy, so they don't have those days that I've had in the corporate world where you're like 30 more years of this, no way.
Oh my goodness, I love your story and just, how honest you are about the whole journey and making those difficult decisions. That was super brave of you to do that.
Yeah.
One of the last questions, what would you say to someone that just starting out or actually thinking about making that transition and becoming an entrepreneur?
I would say don't let anyone tell you that it's not possible. Don't let anyone squash your dreams. I've had so many people over the years laugh at me, or even when I was young and I said I was going to go to uni or I was going to travel the world. Um, yeah, don't ever let anyone make you feel like you're crazy. The crazier, the better. Just again, and I would say the other thing is just find like-minded people. And there nowadays with the internet, you can find so many different groups that will, once you're with the right type of people and the influence, it's just going to build you up, and it'll make it so much easier and the process more fun and enjoyable. So why not?
I love it. Well, I've truly enjoyed this interview, and I hope the ladies that got a lot of inspiration, tips from your journey and your learnings. If ladies want to get in touch with you, what would be the best way?
Yeah, I have a webpage at naturallybiased.com. And then also on Instagram or Facebook, it's Danielle McCurdy, I think, or Naturally Biased on
Yeah,
Facebook.
amazing. Oh, there will be notes in the show notes here. So ladies, if you do want to follow up with Danielle, follow her journey, get inspiration about, living your best life, definitely connect with her. Thank you so much for today's interview, Danielle.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
I look forward to seeing you very soon. And ladies, do make sure you check out all the other interviews on this podcast. Thank you.
Bye.